What's up guys, welcome back to Aquatic Elements. In today's video, we are getting some brand new shrimp for the new Nano Aquarium. Now, about 2 weeks ago, we received the Nano Shrimp Aquarium from Aquacadabra. And make sure to check out their website. The link is in the description for anything aquarium and pond related, from your fish foods to your equipment, heaters, lights, tanks, everything you need. Make sure to check them out because they have sponsored the aquarium, which you would have probably seen me set up in a recent video. It was about a couple of weeks ago now. But we are now getting some new shrimp for the tank and I'm gonna be picking them up tomorrow. So let's head over to the kitchen aquarium and let's see how the tank's getting on. Now here is the 19-litre fluval spec which Aquacadabra sent me, and it's been running now for around a week and a half. So it is time to test the water parameters and make sure that it's all right for the shrimp. Now I haven't done a water change, so the tannin levels have built up in this tank, and I'm gonna have a little bit of a move about with the alder cones and the catappa leaves in there as well. So I'm gonna grab the test kit and let's see how the water is looking. Now, as we are putting Caradina shrimp in here, it's very important to get the correct TDS. So I've got my TDS meter here, which will also measure the temperature of the water as well. So I'm simply going to turn it on, and the first thing I'm gonna measure is the TDS. Now, Caradina shrimp like the TDS to be around 80 to 100, 120, sometimes up to about 150. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the TDS of this water is, as I haven't done a single water change on it yet. So having a look at the meter, it's registering at about 42. Now, when I take the pen out of the water, it does go back to 0. Not sure if that's gonna quite show up on the camera, but it is saying 42, so it is quite low. Now, I am gonna be doing a 50% water change, and I've got some remineralized RO water, so that's not gonna be an issue. Better to be too low than too high. I'm also going to change the temperature set to the temperature setting, and then I can see what the temperature is going to be. Now, these shrimp like it anywhere from between 22 to 23, 23.5 degrees. They aren't a tropical species, and they also aren't a cold water species. Anything in the 20 to 20.5 degree range, they're going to be very, very slow. Now, it is registering at 23.6 degrees. Don't know if that will show up there on the TDS meter. Well, it's saying 24 degrees now. Now, the normal room temperature runs around 22 to 23 degrees in here. So that is going to be the perfect temperature for them. So I'm happy with the water temperature. Now it is time to do the tests. So I've got the JBL Pro test kit here. Now we are going to be mainly testing the ammonia and the nitrite to make sure that the cycle has been completed and that it is safe for fish. Now, I did mention in the last video, I am using the Fluval Biomax media, which I've pre-cycled for a week in my main aquarium. So tomorrow when we pick up the shrimps, I'm gonna get that media out, place it into the filter, and we're gonna already have an established bacteria colony, as well as any bacteria that's built up in this tank. Now I'm going to get on with the test kits and see what they read. Good news, the JBL test kit showed that we have 0 ammonia in the aquarium, and we also have 0 nitrite as well, which means that if there is a bacterial cycle in this aquarium, it is complete and the ammonia and nitrite are being converted to nitrate. And if there isn't a bacterial cycle in the tank, the seeded media from the Monster Fish Mega Tank will then go into that filter and we will have that bacterial cycle. So I'm really happy with the temperature. I'm happy with the ammonia and the nitrite readings. The one thing I'm not quite happy with is the TDS being a little bit low, but that's easily rectified with the water change. So it's now time to have a little bit of a shuffle round with the aquarium, do the water change, put some new filter fleece in and get the tank ready for tomorrow when we can get our new shrimp. Now, as mentioned, this entire setup setup was from Aquacadabra, and if you want to get a tank similar to this or even the exact same tank, then click the link in the description and you can head through to their website and check out all of their stock, as well as all of the hundreds or thousands of aquarium and pond supplies that they have as well. But let's crack on with the water change and get this ready for our shrimp coming tomorrow. And there we have it. That is the water change complete. A little bit cloudy, but it should clear over the next few hours, which means we are ready for shrimp. Now, Aquacadabra also did send me some shrimp food, but we're not gonna be using that for the first few days, as I'm just gonna let those shrimp settle into the aquarium, and there's plenty for them to eat. Now, one thing I didn't mention is I'm so impressed with the live plants. They're all looking absolutely amazing. We've had no kind of melt over the last week and a half. These surface plants, the Spiridella, which is in the species and the family of duckweed, has really taken over, and that's using up any nutrients in the tank. And the rest of these plants, the weeping moss and the bucephalandra, are going to help soak up any nutrients that we get in the aquarium. But I'm really happy with the tank. We've got that TDS sorted, temperature's good, no nitrite, no ammonia, and we're gonna add the cycled media from the Monsterfish Mega Tank into this aquarium tomorrow, and we can get our shrimp. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow when we start acclimating our brand new invertebrates. Now, for the shrimps, I decided to go and pay a visit to one of my friends who actually breeds Caridina shrimp, and he also gave me a few tips and a little bit more information about them as well, which was quite nice. Now, he is a private hobbyist, so he didn't really want to share his methods and his setup, but he did allow me to film some of the different species that he breeds and that he has at his facility. Now, he had loads of different colours, so it was going to be a very difficult choice on which shrimp I would want to choose. He has some different B shrimp, some pure red lines or PRLs. He also had some boas, some fish bones, some fancy red tigers, some fancy black tigers, and there was a few other species that I managed to capture. Now, the tanks were very, very dark, so the camera didn't do too good of a job in picking up the different colours and the different types of shrimp. They're mostly just run on sponge filters with the planted substrate, very similar to the aquarium that they're going to be going into, and also the water parameters were very similar, and they use the same minerals as I do with the tank at home. So it was time to decide which shrimp I was going to choose. Now, I won't reveal them until I actually bring the bags back home, and then you can see which ones I decided to go for. But I'm really happy with what I did decide to choose from, and it was now time to actually select which individual shrimp I wanted to place into the Nano aquarium. So it's time to bag them up, get them home, and I'll catch you when I get back and reveal which shrimp I decided to choose. And we are back. We have our new shrimp just in the bag here. So we have got 12 new fancy tigers, so red fancy tiger shrimp, and I can't wait to get them into the aquarium. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the light off for acclimation, just because I don't want to stress them out too much. Now, you may be able to see if I bring the bag closer to the camera, we've got a little bit of subwassatang in there, which is a type of macroalgae. And this will allow the shrimp to cling onto it during transport, and it really just helps to minimize stress. Now, when I'm acclimating them, I want to make sure that light's off because I don't really want to stress them out any more than I need to. So I'm going to remove the light from the aquarium, and then I'm simply just going to float the bag in the top of the water. Now, the shrimp have been acclimating for around 35 minutes now. So I've got a jug which I'm going to pour them into, and then I can pour the majority of the water away, just leaving a little bit of that bag water with the shrimp in it and the subwassatang. Then we can pour them into the new aquarium and see how they get on. And now it is time to add the shrimp. So I've got the shrimp in the jug, which you can probably see here. So I'm just gonna pour them into the aquarium. I might move the camera a little bit closer so you can watch the release of them all go in. But we've got 12 of the red fancy tiger Caridina shrimp, and I'm hoping over the next 6 to 12 months they'll start to breed. We'll get loads of little shrimplets, and this tank will be full of these amazing invertebrates. Now I've just moved the light over so I can get the jug into the aquarium. I'm slowly gonna add this tank water just to the jug here, because obviously the parameters will be slightly different. And although I've only temperature acclimated them, I'm just gonna slowly release them into their new home. So I'll let them settle in for the next hour or so, and then we can come back and grab some videos of the tank and see how they're doing. And there we have it. The shrimp are acclimated to the aquarium. I've just put the light back on and they're all doing really, really well. So I'm super happy with them. It's going to be great to watch them and observe them and do updates on them over the next few months and over the next coming months, and hopefully soon we will be able to see our first baby shrimp, and maybe one of the females will become buried. Now, adding these shrimp to the tank, I'm not going to be feeding them for the first at least 2-3 days. There's plenty of biofilm, there's the alder cones, catappa leaves, bits of plant algae in there, so there's plenty of them to eat, and it's just going to allow the bacteria levels to catch up. Now, I did add the biomedia from the Monsterfish Mega Tank into the back chamber to help process any potential ammonia that builds up, but with 12 small shrimp going into the tank, I don't really think it's going to be a problem, but at least we've got that cycled bacteria there just in case. So that is it. Once again, a big shout out to Aquacadabra for sending me this full setup, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it develops. Make sure to check out Aquacadabra, the link is in the description. And that is it for today's video. So thank you all for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.